Hello and welcome to your first video for our 4 weeks together. I'm super excited to get to talk with you and start this program, Stepping Forward. So I'm so excited, first of all, that you signed up, that you are giving yourself this time and this space. It's awesome. So we are starting this today on September 21st. That's when this video is being made. And you are going to be watching this video at some point this week when you have some moments of quiet to listen. So thanks for giving me this time. That's an honor. And I'm super excited to be with you the next 4 weeks. So we are exploring 4 themes over the next 4 weeks, and hopefully by the time you're watching this video, you have some gifts that are wrapped up and ready to open. And so we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But who doesn't love gifts to open? It's so exciting. So our first theme that we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into what week 1's gift is in just a moment, and you probably already know it, maybe. But this week we're talking about personal growth. What does growth look like when we are these adults? We're these women adulting, and what is growth? How do we recognize it, and how do we celebrate it? So we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. I have some notes. I'm cheating a little bit, but I had so much in my head that I had to get out. So I hope you'll, give me that grace so I can be kind of looking down because I don't want to miss anything. So it's interesting. I think that in life, we have a variety of seasons that we go through. We go through so many seasons in our life. So many, sometimes those seasons are, we can see it's a change in season because we have a big change, a big life event that changes things. And so abruptly, it's a new season for us. Sometimes those changes are really kind of slow and gradual. So I can recognize some big season changes in my own life. One of those would have been when I became a mother. That was a huge season change for me in a lot of really positive ways, and also just a lot of changes, right? Our time and our personal life and all of that is now kind of in the hands of a little human. And so a lot of changes happen. So, and then other times it's just kind of hard to things are just kind of, maybe things are low key for a while, and that's not a bad thing, right? But it's hard for us to really recognize our own personal growth unless we sit and we really reflect on it. And I'm pretty mindful to know that in this day and age, with all that we have going on, sometimes reflection on our own life doesn't really happen. We just don't make the time for it. And it's not a bad thing, but it's so necessary. And so for this week, in our theme of personal growth, 2 really big goals I have for you is one, we're going to explore some ways to do this, start recognizing our own growth, and also really celebrating those wins and accomplishments when we can see ourselves really growing into the person we really are, our true self. This happens over a lifetime, and it's so important to celebrate all of that. So I was kind of thinking of these different seasons in life, and one that really sticks out right now is, quote, normal life, what normal life used to be like. I don't even know what that is anymore, in contrast with COVID and COVID times. And what COVID has really brought, I mean, here we are 6 months of a lot of isolation. And maybe COVID maybe looks different to each of us. But maybe there's been a lot of changes. There's been changes in jobs, or maybe there's financial strain. Maybe there's just, there may also just be more stress, because if you have kiddos, they're like home and around you 24/7. And I'm a mom, and so I get it. And I love my girl so much, but 24/7 is a lot. Or maybe, like last spring you attempted school at home, distance learning. Maybe you're I'm sure you're doing distance learning maybe this fall. It is just like so much change and a whole nother big season. And maybe your COVID time has also, maybe things have slowed down for you. I think I recognized that a little bit in myself at the beginning of it. I wasn't running around as much, and I wasn't driving into work because we were working remotely, things like that. There was some simplicity, but boy, has there been a lot of change. So seasons stretch us, like this season right here. It's safe to say that we've all been really stretched in a lot of ways. Sometimes seasons are quieter, and then sometimes life just it's like monsoon season. It's just pouring and there's a lot of change. So regardless of what the season you are in, we're always growing. We're always growing and changing and evolving. Always, always, always. If you do have kids, this is probably easy to see when you're looking at your kids. You can see them, physically growing. They're growing out of their clothes and their shoes, and it seems like every few months, or just what their abilities and what they're able to do, or they become more independent when they get older, things like that, or you hope they're becoming more independent. All those things, it's kind of easy to see those changes in a kiddo. So I think though, sometimes when we're in a season and there's so much coming at us, we don't see maybe how that season is changing us until after the fact, right? And then we can reflect and go, oh. So this is what we're really talking about this week. I want you to think a little bit. Sometimes we have a lot of stories we tell ourselves. I'm really big on this in my coaching. There's a lot of stories we can tell ourselves, and I gotta say, especially as women, where it's really easy to point out what we consider to be faults or negatives, the areas where we're not measuring up, right? And we focus on that. Oh, man, I had a bad parenting day today. Oh, I was terrible. Or I'm really blowing it here. I'm not being my best here. Or wow, I've been working from home and not really getting it all done. I'm not, as women, we can be really super critical of ourselves and miss all these areas that we're stretching. And so when we reframe things, take, for example, this current time of COVID, and we are being stretched in ways we never thought possible. We're isolated so much, or maybe our kids are, doing distance learning at home like we talked about. How can we reframe that to really show that we are really doing amazing things right now? We're adapting, and we're, maybe there are ways where you are connecting with neighbors that maybe you didn't connect with before because they're right there. Or maybe there's community that you somehow found through this isolation. Maybe, all these things that when we reframe the current situation of if it's a hard season for you. And if it's not a hard season for you, awesome. I'm so excited for that. But in those hard times, it's hard to look and say, oh yeah, like this is something I'm doing well. I'm really showing up in this way. So some examples of what personal growth might look like in your life. And these are just some things I kind of jotted down as I thought of really big ways as adults, as women, that we grow. Maybe it's learning to say no. Maybe it's learning to not take on more than you can handle. And with that, maybe boundaries. It's really being able to set those boundaries with people in your life so that you stay true to who you are. And boys, that takes a long time to learn. And if that's something you're working on, I commend you for that. Maybe it's learning to ask for help. These are all signs of personal growth, okay? All of it. It's all you really aligning with your true self and living in that truth. So for this week, you have a little bit of homework. It's pretty fun homework, I think. So in all your things that you received, you should have received a journal. I think pen and paper is a great way to carve out some time for yourself and do some good reflection. And so in your journal this week, I want you to spend some time, and this could be you sit down and you do this all in one sitting, or maybe you kind of come back to it throughout the week, whatever works best for you. I want you to look back at this past year, okay? And I want you to reflect on areas in your life where you have really grown. And in that, I want you to really think about and include and celebrate your wins and your successes. Really think about it. And for some of us, it's hard to vocalize things that we're good at. Maybe we feel like, ooh, I'm being a little too conceited about that, or that's not right. No, this is your time. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate the ways you are showing up for yourself, okay? I promise you, if you look back at this past year from today all the way back to last year, September 21st, you're gonna find some wins. The other, like I said, when we don't make the time to reflect on these things, it's hard to see them. So also, in this week, you get to have a fun project. And so your personal growth gift, hopefully you've seen it. You're going to do some gardening in a little pot. You're going to plant some seeds. And what's really cool about this, I've done a lot of gardens with my daughter. She's now 9, and we've done them a lot. This summer's garden didn't go so well, but that's okay. It was our season. Some seasons have been awesome. And we get a lot of tomatoes and things like that. Our soil wasn't so good this year, right? We didn't have good soil. We learned. We got a few things. It was fun. It was a good process. Now we know what we need to do for next summer. So I want you to plant those seeds, and it takes time. There's a lot of things that have to be present for those seeds to grow. So if you plant those seeds in the dirt and water them once and put them on your windowsill and never water them again, chances are they're not going to grow. So there's a lot of attention and intention that goes in that. Okay, so this is like your visual, and it's going to be fun for you to see those seeds sprout and grow. Okay, so that's your other piece of homework. So you have some journaling, you get to plant your seeds, and if you have kiddos around, include them in it, and it'll be super fun, and they can get their hands dirty and all of that. And then the last task you have is to get outside for 20 minutes. 20 minutes you're going to go for a walk. So this is a pretty special time. This is the first day of fall. I love fall, and I'm noticing so many leaves are already falling on the ground. The weather has changed a little bit. The air is clear, no smoke, so you can get out and go for a walk. You can just go in your neighborhood. If you live by a nearby trail, maybe you live by Whatcom Falls Park or you live by Cornwall Park, you can get out into a park. But you can also just walk right down your sidewalk, right in your area that you live. And I want you to walk really quietly. And I want you to take in all the season that is changing into fall. Look at how the colors are changing. Look at the leaves that are falling. Also look at what's still growing. There's a lot that's growing right now. Okay, notice the changes, what's still alive and still has its purpose there, and what's changing. I want you to just take it in. All I want you to do is just be mindful of it, take it in, get some fresh air. If you're going out with your kiddos, what you can do is take them on this walk, and what you're going to do is have them notice all the changes. And this is a really great conversation where they can talk about the ways that they're growing. And even if they're little, they're toddlers, or maybe they're middle schoolers or high school. Oh my gosh, if you can get your high schooler out, if you have a high schooler, yes, do that. Anyway, if you can get your kiddos out, you can have that conversation. Wow, how do you think you've grown up this past year? They're in a new grade in school, maybe, or maybe they learned to read, or they started, I don't know, whatever it is. It's a great conversation for you all to think about, and just to recognize, oh yeah, wow, we have grown in these ways. That's pretty cool. Even through these hard times, right? We grow even in the hard times, the good times, all of it. So this is your first session. Thank you for sticking with me. If you need to go back and figure out what your homework is, you can scroll through the video. You can also reach out to me. So I'm emailing this to you. You can also reach out to me if you have questions. I'm happy to respond to you that way. Thanks so much for your time. And I hope you have a really wonderful week. Take care.